Hi, everyone. This is Bob Sorrentino from Italian Roots and Genealogy. And today, a little bit of a change from what we usually do. We're going to be talking about people from Corona, Queens, New York. So we have Annette and Gina and Ernesto. He's going to jump into when he can. So welcome, guys. Thanks for being here.
Our pleasure.
So, Annette, I'm going to start with you since you lived in Corona for all your life, correct?
Yes, I'm the oldest here, and I'm 90 years old. Very proud to be a Coronian. Born, raised there, everything.
Yeah. So what street and avenue did you grow up on?
I lived at 5731 on Street, which is one block from the Long Island Expressway. And I went to St. Leo's School, and I walked from that location all the way to 47th Avenue and Corona Avenue every morning. No buses, no nothing, just walked. And it was such a pleasure.
And now they wouldn't let you walk around the corner if you were.
Oh, forget about now. Forget it. You know, that building is still there. So they call it the Triangle Building because the building it's like a triangle. So on 57th and 108th, the parents had that house built. It's a 5-family house with a store because they had a laundry downstairs, Angelo's Laundry. Many years ago, I was like 15. And then I went to Forest Hills High School, which was in reach of me to walk again and come home and help my dad and my mom time.
So what did your dad do? What did he work in Corona?
Yes, my dad, first of all, he was a laundryman when I was in my teens. But then he's changed and he bought a bakery. And he owned Belmont Bakery on Corona Avenue, 9722 Corona Avenue, where I had my roots for my family when I got married, and I had my 5 children there.
Well, not in the bakery, above the bakery.
Yeah.
There were 2 apartments above the bakery, and then Aunt and Uncle Tony had so many kids, they had to join the 2 apartments together. So they had the whole floor on top of the bakery. And you were there until
I was there for quite a while, until I was 39 years old.
yeah,
Which is deduct 39 from 90.
well, 40 from 90, so 50 years.
Years ago.
Yeah.
Wow,
But it
that's
was
something.
a wonderful experience.
Well, my Aunt Mary and my Uncle Frank, they were brother and sister. They both worked at Mangiapane's, Leonard's.
Well, Mangiapane was my father's dear friend.
Well, so then your father had to know my uncle and my aunt because they, my uncle was a baker there, probably, I want to say from the early 50s through about 1958. And then him and my aunt, they opened up a fish store in the Bronx of all places, but my aunt was from the Bronx, so that's probably why. But my Aunt Mary worked behind the counter there probably, well, into the early 60s, I want to say. And she was very, very close with the family. In fact, the Mangiapanes called my Aunt Mary and my Uncle Frank aunt and uncle. That's how close they were. And they lived right, the house you see me in front of, they lived right up the block from there. That was on 47th, I think.
7th Avenue, right? That's St. Leo's block.
Well, no,
That's
then
where
it was
St.
48th. They were one block down from St. Leo's. They were, you know where Camarades was? That was their
Of
corner.
course I know.
That was
Yes,
that was their street.
And what about Granada? Granada was there too.
Yeah, yeah. So
And there was Baldy's Bakery.
all these two, right? Yep,
Right.
yep.
Right.
My aunt and uncle, well, my aunt especially. My aunt was a character, so she would have been now probably, I want to say 105 or 106 if she was still alive. But she, one of the, oh, his name escapes me now. The mafia guy. It'll come to me, and then I'll tell the story when it comes to me.
If anybody's to do with that, my father knew them all. Especially Carlo.
That's how Grandpa got here.
And then my aunt Agnes, owned the beauty parlor on the corner of, must have been 43rd and 104th Street.
Yes.
Agnes's beauty parlor.
Yeah, but that was all the way up for me.
was the other way.
by the expressway. But I still knew a lot of people because my father had a route. He had a bread route, which we went, it encompassed most of Corona. So my brothers used to deliver for my father.
Well, and
Belmont Bakery.
my cousin's husband used to deliver for Mangiapane's.
Well, Mangiapane and my father were very good friends. In fact, when I was a kid, I was like maybe 10 or 12, he brought me to their house as a little girl because he had to speak to him on some kind of business. And Margaret Mangiapane is the wife, and she had the boys and the girl. She had one girl and three boys, and he brought me over to their house. So they're talking business with their big fedoras on, and they look like they were ready to go dancing instead of in a bakery. And it was really a very, very good time for me. And my dad was a wonderful man. And I really had a wonderful childhood. And Corona is just a wonderful place. It was. Unfortunately, they call this changing times. And I just want to think back, and I don't want to go ahead.
Well, no, just a fantastic place. I mean, I grew up in College Point, but my grandmother,
Yeah.
my parents were both they weren't born in Corona, but they lived there, through their teens. And then they got married in
Yes.
St. Leo's in 1944.
Yeah, and so did I. I got married in when was it? 54. Yes.
Yeah, 10 years difference.
Yes. And my parents were married in 47.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
so many people were, married there and all of that. And, I grew up in a funeral parlor across the street, Guiders. Well, somebody was always,
So good.
Somebody was always, I mean, I remember as a kid, 8, 9, 10 years old, somebody would die and we'd spend 3 days in the funeral parlor.
Days and guiders, right?
Eddie got it. He used to smoke the cigar in front of the place. Now his son took over.
Yes. Yeah.
I know a Sorrentino that was a journalist, and he lived in College Point. And that wasn't you,
My
was
father.
Oh, God. Told you she knows everybody.
Live into
That's
that
my
high
fault.
house. They had to climb up those stairs.
Well, I don't remember that. I mean, obviously, I
Oh,
don't.
I do.
My father was a photographer for the Daily News.
That's him.
Oh, God.
Oh my
So
God.
you knew him? How'd you know him?
I know. Well, first of all, I was very politically active. My ex-husband he belonged to the Joe Lisa Club, the
Yeah.
Democratic Club.
Yeah, mhm.
Okay. So he was very involved politically. And that's how I got to meet all these people. And that's the whole thing. And I loved Corona, and I did everything in my power. When Joe Lisa was running for office, I was in a car with a big bullhorn and telling everybody to vote for Joe Lisa.
So you knew Bill Giacchio also.
Bill Judge had dinner in my house, how many times, and played cards, but he was so cheap, he only played it for a penny. He said, "Oh no, I'm not, a dime is too much." And his kids, I tell his kids that because I'm still in touch with his kids.
Well, him and my father were best friends from when they were teenagers.
Oh, I love Bill.
And
Love
I'll tell you a funny. I got a few funny Bill stories because I used to go bowling with my father and Bill. We were on the
Whitestone Lane.
White.
Oh, him too.
I have pictures of the bowling team when my uncle, my father, and I
Get the picture of
get
it.
a picture of them in Whitestone Lanes. They would belong to the league. Not to interrupt, but
No,
let's go,
no,
but-
that's fine. Jump in at any time. Well, when I was 18, I wanted to be a lawyer at one point in time. And so my father asked Bill if he knew a lawyer or somebody that would hire me as, I guess just to do filing and stuff like that. So he got me a job with this Jewish lawyer in Rockaway, Milton Jacobowitz. And one day my boss says to me, "Oh," he said, "Judge Giacchio is in traffic court today," because he used to collect tickets for people and,
Yes.
do them. So he said, "You go. You don't need me. You know the judge better than I do." So I get to the courtroom. I'm sit right in the front, and Bill sees me and he waves to me to come back. And as soon as he saw me, he adjourns court and tells me to come back. So I go in the back.
He was great.
I go in the back and the court officer stops me and he says, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to see the judge." "You can't see him." I said, "He just told me to come and see him. Go tell him Bob Sorrentino. Now I'm this little punk kid, right? So he goes in, he comes in, and the judge will see you now. I walk in. Oh, Bob, how's that? Oh, what are you doing here? I said, well, Mr. Jacobowitz sent me with the tickets to get done. So he tells this court officer, take the tickets, and they had to put this adhesive back on it so you could, write the fine on it or whatever. So the court officer says, come with me. And the judge says, Bill says, I didn't tell him to go. I told you to go and come back. Now this guy's really pissed off, right?
That's
So-
Bill.
Yeah, so he said, so he's going through these tickets then, and he goes, hey, these two have your name on it. So I said, yeah, parking tickets. He goes, how's $2 each? That's fine. So we do everything, and I had to go out and do the things, and I walk out, and the court officer says, you better not do that again. I said, do what? And he says, you can't just go do that. I said, why don't we go back in and you tell the judge what you just told me? Well, we didn't go back.
Obviously. And
But
may I?
when I was divorced, and when I married my wife now, we couldn't get married in the church, obviously. So we asked Bill if he would marry us, and he wouldn't do it. He said he doesn't, because we were
No,
Catholic.
he was very religious.
Yeah, he wouldn't
Him
do
and
it.
Rose.
But
Oh
Phil-
my goodness,
but
they
Phil-
went to church every day.
But Phil Cheddar married us.
Cheddar.
He married
I was
us.
just going to say, do you know Phil Cheddar? Do
He
you
married
know
us.
how? Let me tell you the best times. And my kids all work in the courthouse now.
Oh, really?
My daughter is a lawyer, and she works for she worked for Follow. One daughter worked for Follow. She started it, my older daughter, because she worked for Judge Follow. You remember him from Astoria?
I don't remember him.
Yeah. Well, she worked for him, and then she quit right away. Because she wanted to get married, and she moved. So she only worked 1 year. But due to her being there and me knowing all these judges, I knew Judge Santucci, I knew them all. And my second daughter, Lauren, who is still in the courthouse, and she's 66 years old. She's going to be retiring soon. She's working there over 25 years. Sure. And now my little daughter works for another judge now, Judge Margulies, in criminal court. And they'll be retiring in 2 years or so.
No, Margulies, is he the son of there was a Judge Margulies when I was working for.
It's not him.
Yeah, he would be long, but it had the same name. I wonder if if it was a
Related.
relative.
It could be related. Yeah. You don't know. But anyway, that's the story. We have a long lineage of Supreme courts.
Yeah, and then the other judge that was friends with Bill, was it Fauci or LaFauci or
Judge LaFauci?
LaFauci?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's my girlfriend's uncle, but she's passed away now, and so is LaFauci.
Well,
and so is his wife.
My father used to laugh because they would all go golfing together, and my father would tell me that they didn't trust each other. They were judges. They didn't trust each other, so they would keep each other's score.
Judge LaFauci was the administrative judge. He was a big guy.
Was it? Yeah, I didn't realize.
Oh, yeah.
That.
I think it was him. I'm 90. You have to forgive half of the things I don't say right.
Oh, that's fine. Because we lived in College Point, and then Bill and Rose lived in Malboro, so they were
right. Well, I was
right down
always
the road.
in Malboro. I was at Phil Cheddar's house all the time. Mrs. Cheddar, Ina, she used to make German cookies, and they were so delicious. When you make those cookies, you better call me, and I'd go there and I'd eat them all.
See, I didn't.
So he says, God, you didn't save me anything.
I didn't know them. I didn't know them like I
knew them personally.
Like I knew
Yes.
Bill and Rose and the kids. But when we got married with Phil, we got married. We were in criminal court, and we got married in his chambers. And at one point, my father said, "Well, we should go now. The judge has to, do his thing." And he said, "They have no place to go." He says they have to wait for me, talking about the criminals.
That's right. That's a good line. Maybe you would like to know something about 39th. Where did you come from, Ernie? 97th Street and 30 what? 30. Grew up there.
Yeah, so my cousins, when my uncle came from Italy, because my uncle came later. my
Oh, yeah.
grandparents left him there, and they lived on 97th. I don't think it was too far from
Junction Boulevard.
yeah, I'm trying to remember exactly because I was a kid, and then
Our
they
Lady of
wound up moving to
Sorrows.
Whitestone. But my mother's last
My
name is
grand-
My mother's last name is Nicoletti.
Nicoletti?
Yeah,
It's Nicoletti?
Nicoletti.
No, the Nicolettis.
You have to. Yeah, you would have to.
They're probably all related because Nicoletti, they lived on Xenia Street, I think.
Yes,
The
I think that's where
Nicolettis.
my uncle
See?
lived. They speak.
That's
They had
correct.
Italian accent.
Yes,
That's
all
my
from Italy.
That's my
That's
uncle and
right.
cousins.
Right. And what about Neil Migliori? They lived there too, the Miglioris.
That name is familiar.
Well, he was, kind of,
That name's familiar.
with the nose, with the,
Well, my cousin, let's see, the Nicolettis, which ones would you know? You would probably know Stella the best and
well, I remember them because my father had a laundry and then he had a grocery and then he had a bakery. So everybody knew my dad in Corona. Angelo. I used to know Angelo the laundry man.
Well, that was way back.
Way back.
But they really know from Belmont Bakery.
Right.
Because he was one of when they built Spaghetti Park.
My ex-husband was the guy that initiated the Spaghetti Park renovation, the first one through the Democratic Club through Joe Lisa. So my ex-husband gets the accolades for that. His name is in there.
But
In fact, show me this.
I emailed you some pictures. Yeah. But Grandpa used to play bocce there. Yeah. Don Angelo, they called him. Yeah, Don Angelo.
so he played where
Because-
they play bocce in Spaghetti Park. Because my grandfather used to play across the street from the house where the ambulance corps was, because that used to be
Right. 47th Avenue.
Yeah.
That's where Phil Cheddar lived.
that's how my mother knew him from there.
And Peter Cheddar was a very good friend of mine. Peter. Phil Cheddar's brother.
Yeah, see him I don't know. I only know Phil.
He was a professor at Iona College. He never married. And I always kept in touch with him because I had a real estate business in Corona called Anthony Realty. And Mr. Cheddar, Phil's brother, Peter, and I were very good friends. I used to rent his apartments in his house on 47th Avenue, right around the corner from St. Leo's Church. So I was very involved in Corona.
Yeah, no, yeah. It sounds. I just can't. I can't believe that you knew my father.
Yes, of course I knew him.
That's so
He used to
crazy.
be a writer in the news.
I'll have to send you because I have a bunch of his photographs a few years ago. Well, more than a
Yes.
few. My cousin Paul, who also worked for the news,
Right.
I wanted to get some of my father's pictures, and he said, "Well, there's a gal there that's knew your father, and she'll send you some." So she sent me a bunch of pictures, and then I went on to newspapers.com and got some of his other photos because he worked there from the late 40s through I guess 82 or 83 or something like that.
Mhm.
Doing the photography, and for a while, for a couple of years, he did newsreels for WPIX.
Uh-huh. WPIX, yes, I remember that.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
you live in College Point now?
Far.
Because my girlfriend still lives in College Point. She's 92. She's been living there for 70 years. Her name is Tina Picari.
Yeah, I don't recognize.
And
that
her name used to be, when she was single 90 years ago, Alberico. Tina Alberico. She's still living there from when she was a teenager. She came from Italy.
Really? Yeah.
Tina Picari is her name, and she lives on 9th Avenue. And let's see, what street is that? All the way down. She has a corner house. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
And she's very involved.
We lived on 7th Avenue, so it probably wasn't that far away.
No.
My uncle lived on 9th Avenue. My uncle Tom Nicoletti. He lived.
Yes,
on 9th
Tom
Avenue.
Nicoletti. Okay.
And
I have to ask Tina if she knows them. She's 92, so she probably knows everybody we're talking about.
my cousin Marilyn said, let's see how old. Marilyn's like 83 or 84 now. And they lived they lived by, before they moved to College Point, they lived by Bellachico's Bakery. I don't remember what
Yeah,
street
Bella
that is.
Chica was near our bakery. Our bakery was on Corona Avenue, and Bella Chica was on Junction Boulevard
Right, right,
and 43rd. So
right.
you could really walk to that.
And my aunt and uncle lived there before they moved to College Point. And my aunt's sister was married to uh, Joey Mangino. I don't know if you know that
Jo-
name.
No, I don't know them.
Because they all lived in the same area, right
Do
over
you
there. But
do you remember Ski's gas station?
yes, yeah.
I was very good friends with Ski. Very good. And he lived right up the corner from my father's bakery where I lived with all my kids. Right. So he was like a lookout for me from when my kids were on the street. He was a lookout.
So you're still in Corona?
No, I wish I was. No, no, I take that back. I take it back. I
It's
wish
not
I
the
was
same.
if I could go back in time. But now I went to Corona and I cried, literally cried. If it wasn't for the Lemon Ice King, who I know very well, right? That's still a staple there. You go into that little park there and you want to cry. There's drug addicts there, people hanging out. It's disgusting. It really is, Bob. I'm very,
Yeah,
very upset
that's
about that.
sad. So I remember the name Profaci. So
Oh,
my-
Profaci.
so I didn't know this until years later on, that he was Leonard's Mangiapane's cousin.
We'll be right back.
Experience Italy like never before, traveling with a scheduled group or create your own bespoke tour with friends with philitaly.co. Pack your bags and follow Phil. That's www.philitaly.co.
Oh, yeah, the Profacis.
Yeah. So he comes into the store. It must have been the 50s, sometime in the 50s. He comes into the bakery with his two sons, and he's wearing this fedora hat, white
Yeah,
fedora
sure.
hat. And Aunt Mary says, "There goes Charlie Chan and his two sons," as he walks to the back to go see Leonard, right? And she said the sons laughed, and they did whatever business they had. And he comes out and he says to my aunt in Sicilian, "You're a real wise one." So now, what's her boss's name? Oh, you would know him too. I know you would know him. I can't think of who it was, but anyway, he comes out because he was related to Mangiapane too, I think. And he says, "Mary, what are you great? What are you doing? Don't you know who that is?" She goes, "It's the olive oil man." Well, he was the olive oil man,
Yes.
but he was more than that too.
More than very slippery like olive oil. Ernie has a little story he could tell you about Mangiapane when he came and he slept in his house. Right?
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
I used to sleep in the bakery. I was very friendly with Frankie.
Okay.
Frankie, and I used to sleep in the bakery. And you guys are telling all good stories. I don't really have that many good stories about Corona. I could tell you stories that might say, didn't exist or didn't exist, but it did exist there. I used to sleep in the bakery, and we used to bring men in from Italy and get them work in needles. We used to bring them in, sleep them in the bakery. We had 3 or 4 different lofts for them to sleep in. And we would keep them there until they got work, so we could put them to work someplace. We had to go in there, we could get a job as a laborer or here or there. We'd come out, and then we'd bring another 1 or 2 guys in from Italy and find them a job. And we did that for quite a period of time.
So what year
That
was
was
that?
the-
What years was that?
It must have been, I was about 14 years old.
So he's 88. 14 years old. How old?
37, 47, 50 something, 55,
In the 50s.
56,
So you that was
54, 53.
that's when my aunt and uncle were working there. So you had to know my
Yeah,
uncle.
that's what, but we used to bring people in from there, and that was
He came from,
funny. But
Yeah.
from the other side of Corona.
I came from the other side of Corona. I lived in the Corona Heights and Junction Boulevard
Mhm.
and 104th Street. I don't know if you're aware, but Corona was noted for gangs.
Oh yeah, sure.
Gang, Corona Heights, you couldn't date a girl unless you got permission.
No kidding.
If you went to the girl's house to pick her up, the boys on the corner would grab you and say, "What's your name? What are you doing? Who are you?" And you had to get more or less permission. The girl had to come out and say, "Oh, I want," she was a local. And if you didn't do that, you couldn't date that girl. It was very simple. You couldn't go pick her up.
That's
So I give
funny.
you a little different view of what Corona was like.
Well, I
you
knew.
know.
I mean, I knew of the Corona Dukes.
I was
but
a
my
member
cousin-
of the Corona Duke.
Yeah.
No, it was an honorary.
Well,
for
my
a
cousin, my cousin Donnie Scarangella. I know he was in there for
member.
what's the name? No, but that might.
I went to Forest Hills High School with him.
Yeah. Well, my cousin, he was 21, I think. So he would have been born around 1940. And he died of an overdose.
Even then, they had
Yeah.
people on.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
We had seven, but we weren't members of the drug cartel at the time. The gangs, in other words, gang groups weren't members of the.
No, I don't remember the Corona Dukes.
Oh, I
Like,
mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know the whole story because I was young. I was only about 10. So,
yeah, but I
they kinda
remember them
filtered
very
us.
well. I remember Edward D'Angelo. He was one of them. Frankie Motto. All those guys.
Nicola.
Vito Fernicola. He's still alive, Vito.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
My cousin Lou, let's see, Lou Nicoletti, he would be probably about 83 or 84 now too. He passed away a few years ago. Let's see. Well, he would have been born around 41 because he went to the Marines in 58. Yeah. They gave him a choice, I think. I think that's the way I heard the story anyway. He used to get in little stupid petty things, but all the police knew my uncle from the bakery. So they used to
Yeah.
let him go. And I think, I think they gave him, they said, you
Yeah, I
need
used to bring
get straightened
salami
out."
sandwiches to the precinct to let my kids. No, if my kid did something and they brought him down there, I would bring them a nice big salami sandwich. I go, come on, he only went on the sidewalk with the car. What did he do?
Well, that was what my cousin used to, I think he used to drive my uncle's car around and, but and he didn't have a license or anything like that. That's funny. Yeah. And I remember there even, there used to be the feast on 47th Avenue
Yes, yes.
up until, I guess.
Then it was the Third Avenue,
Yeah.
and then they had it right in the park where the bocce alley is. They had one year was in there. That was about 7 years ago. That's the last time I went.
I remember the Zeppela stand outside was always outside at the front of the house that I'm behind. But and 3 for a quarter.
They were so good, delicious.
An issue of Corona, we had no prejudices there. Northern Boulevard was black. Corona was white and mixed. There was never a conflict between the white and the black, and we were more or less lived as one. I don't know if you're familiar with that, because years ago there was no conflict, black and white. It didn't exist in Corona. The Corona blacks and the Corona whites were one. There was
Yeah.
no.
See. Yeah. Like
If there was a conflict between a black and a white, that was the conflict. It was just like two whites. It was just like there would be no grouping. We were
racial
all
thing
one.
or anything.
No racial barrier, right?
We were all one in that area.
Anyway,
So
yes.
now my uncle and then later my cousin, they owned Minus Fuel Oil.
Come on. Now. Are you kidding me? Me and Lou Minor were like this. We used to go out to lunch every other day because he was right around the corner from my real estate office. And he would take me, I would give him my clients that I sold the houses to him to get the oil.
That's so funny.
Yes.
I still keep in touch with him. He lives in Florida. I
Yeah,
know
you
his
probably
wife very
you probably
well,
keep in
Ken.
touch with him more than I do.
Oh my goodness, I used to love Lou Minor.
I worked for him 2 years when I was
I'm going
16
to
and
send him a
17.
message.
16 and 17.
Yeah.
He came to the house one day. Uh, it was Easter vacation, but it was snowing. It was one of those cold Easters. And he comes to deliver oil to my mother. And he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Nothing." He said, "You want to work on the truck?" I said, "I guess." So go put on, get dressed. So I didn't know that the job was going to be I pull the hose to the thing and he sits in the truck with the heat on. But
You froze your butt off.
I'll tell you, you if you want to, you tell him that I told you this story about when I sprayed him with oil, quite by accident.
Oh, I'm going to call him. I am.
So
I'm going to tell him.
So I'll never forget, it was Future Motors in Astoria or Long Island City. And the hose didn't like connect. It was just a hole in the ground.
Yes, you dropped all the oil all over.
So the thing is filling up. He was off inside doing whatever he did. And I see the hose, it's kind of bouncing, right? Because there was no vent. So it was kind of like
Right.
bouncing like this. So I went to grab it to hold it. And as soon as I did, Lou walked up this way. And the hose came out of the ground.
I got to tell him this story. That is hysterical.
And
Oh,
so
my goodness.
so now Lou, he was never dirty, right? Never dirty.
Oh my God.
Never
it's-
dirty. Never dirty. So now
Never.
we go to lunch. We used to go to the place on 111th Street. I forget the name, but
To Pharaoh. To Pharaoh's?
No. This was by the World's Fair, across from the World's Fair. We used to go there for lunch and breakfast and stuff. So now he goes in there, and nobody ever saw him dirty before. So now it gets
He's
even
full of
worse.
oil.
Now it gets even worse because
Oh,
there everybody's, "Hey Lou, what happened?" Another time I was getting you had to prime the pump. So I'm priming the pump and he throws the switch so the motor comes on and I'm getting electrocuted. And I'm telling him, "Turn it off." "Why? Turn it off." "Why? Just turn it off." I couldn't let go.
I got to talk to them.
And yeah, so many different things. I wound up buying his car, his Falcon, his Ford Falcon.
Once he took me on one of his boats when he had a beautiful boat, and he invited me along with other people, and I went. I'm telling you, he was driving that boat. He sat in the captain's chair up on the top. He did everything. That guy, he was something else. Did you remember his first wife?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Well, Annette, his daughter,
Yeah.
went to school with my daughter, Suzanne.
Oh,
She's
okay.
70 years old now.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah,
He's
sure.
about 93.
I remember all his wives.
The three of them, and how about all his girlfriends?
Well, I don't know. He used to drop me off places and drive away for an hour. So I don't know where he went. But one time we went to one of the funeral homes one time.
That's so funny.
And we went down the basement and I was cleaning, started doing whatever I was doing. And he walked, "I'll be back. I have to get some." And he turns off all the lights in the funeral home as he leaves. And then he starts making ghost noises.
He was like that.
Oh, well, I don't, did you know his father, Uncle Nick? My Uncle
No,
Nick.
him I didn't know. His brother I knew. His handsome brother. I used to tell him, I said, "Oh, your brother's so
Who,
handsome." Get mad.
Tommy. Yeah.
Tommy was good looking, right? So he goes, "Yeah, what about me?" Oh, I said, "You're handsome, but your brother's handsome."
Well, their father, my Uncle Nick, he was just I thought he was the funniest guy. He passed away when I was only 10.
Yeah, he was young.
But he was the funniest guy, and he would deliver oil to my mother. And my mother had this, nobody ever sat in the living room, of course, right? We're Italian. Nobody sat in the living room. And
Of course, on the plastic couches.
yeah, so my mother had this gold chair. And my uncle would come to deliver oil. And she'd say, "Nick, you want a cup of coffee or something?" "Oh, sure." And he would go sit in that gold chair just to make my mother nuts. So that's where Lou gets that's where he gets it from.
Yeah, he likes to go like this, push it in and take it out.
Well, that's the way my uncle was. And my aunt,
Yeah.
my mother's sister, was the complete opposite.
This is like such a small world, Bob, that I'm speaking to you. I mean, you're young, but I knew your father and mother, I'm sure.
Yeah.
How old would your father have been?
My father would be 102 now, and my mother would be 100.
102.
And my mother would
Yeah,
be 100.
because my sister Ann is 98. That's Gina's sister, Gina's mother.
That's Dominic's grandmother.
Oh, okay.
Is my sister, and she is in Florida right now in a senior living facility. Very proud lady. She gets up every day, puts her earrings on, sits on a red couch, doesn't know what she's saying sometimes, but she's a very good actress.
She is a good actress.
Wonderful and beautiful as ever.
98.
98. So we hope she makes 100. At least she'll be the first one in the family, because my genealogy doesn't go back much further than my mother and father, because we never found out. They were both orphans.
Well, they
Oh,
were
really?
foundlings. Dominic found out they were, I think that's
Her son.
Dominic's
Yeah.
interview. They were foundlings.
Her son is so wonderful, this kid, Dominic. He doesn't let it go. Delves and delves and delves. He is such a wonderful boy.
I enjoy talking to him
Yeah.
so much. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, he's just wonderful. He's a wealth of information, Bob,
No,
for a young kid.
Yep. Well, that's what I enjoyed, and he's hooked me up with a couple other young people, because most of the people doing this kind of stuff are ancient, So it's nice to see the young kids doing it, and
That's
preserve.
wonderful. I'm so glad that he's so interested in this. Now, Bob, how do I get a copy of this wonderful interview?
It'll be on YouTube. So once I'll put a little few things around it and make it look a little nicer, and then I'll send
great.
Gina the link, and
give it to me.
yeah, and then you could.
And I'm going to send it to Lou Minor.
We used to be in my grandmother's backyard,
Yes.
and we were kids, and he would knight us with my grandmother's cane, right? And he would give us these crazy names. Then you had to remember the name, because I guess he's what, 12 or 15 years older than me.
He's about 92 or 93.
Yeah, so he's 10 years older than me. And then he would hit you with the cane, like, like they used to do with the sword when they knighted somebody, but he would hit you with the cane. I now pronounce you Sir Flosserson.
But you're actually his first cousin?
Yeah.
His first cousin.
First cousins, yeah.
Yeah, on his father's side or his mother's side?
His mother and my mother were sisters.
Okay, all right.
But my mother's family, there was probably 20 years between the oldest and the youngest child.
Yes.
And my mother was on the younger end.
Like me too.
Yeah.
My sister, first of all, we know no one other than my parents and all her children. We know nothing. We don't even know where we came from. I mean, I could be from Africa for all I know. But we are from Sicily, and as you know, many people invaded Sicily. So I'm probably a mixture of about 15 different people. But anyway, I'm glad who I am, and I'm glad I grew up Sicilian. Very happy with my childhood and my parents.
My wife's half Sicilian and half Puerto Rican.
Really, that's a nice
Yeah.
combo.
Yeah, that's some
Great.
combo. But she's her mother, their family's from Shaka in Sicily.
Yeah, that's near Palermo.
Yeah, not far. Yeah, it was about an hour. We
Yeah,
drove
it's
there.
about
It
an
was
hour. That's it.
Yeah. And
Uh-huh.
her mother grew up on Spring Street in Little Italy.
Yeah.
That's where they set.
And my mother grew up on Elizabeth Street.
Oh, so yeah. So not far away. They may have known each other.
That's very true.
Probably do. Everybody did back then, because that's where the Italians migrated.
Well,
So,
and
yeah.
then the
Then they
same
went to
towns.
Corona.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
my father's brother-in-law's family was from Shaka, and they were in Little Italy. I said to my wife, I said they had to know each other.
Right.
because
Yes.
that's like you said, that's the way they
That's
grew
the
up.
way we knew. We all intermingled together, and then we all lived together. Like the Sicilians moved out of Elizabeth Street, whatever, and came to Corona. And then this is how Corona was populated, mostly with Italians.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Your parents from Mulberry Street.
when I was dating Marion, I must have been, it was probably 82 or 83, probably 82. And I had a MG, a convertible, a little convertible, and we went to the park side. I guess it was pretty new at that time. And there,
Yeah.
there was no parking there, right? There was no parking lot or anything.
No,
but
they have a lot next door now.
now they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I parked by Spaghetti Park across the street, and I left the top down, and I didn't put the alarm on or anything. And my wife says to me, "Aren't you gonna put the alarm to close the car?" I said, "Nobody's gonna bother the car."
Yeah,
She goes,
right.
"How do you know that?" I said, nobody's gonna bother the car." So we were walking in, and there was a guy standing outside like this, right? And I
Yeah.
said, "Is the MG over there okay like that?" And he goes, "Ain't nobody gonna
Yes.
touch that car."
Yeah, well, that's, as long as you park on that block, you're safe.
She goes, "How did you?" I said,
Tony died, you know that.
"I know.
right?
Yeah, I know. I
Yeah.
know." He was very good friends with my cousin Lou. They were good friends
Oh.
growing up because they were about the
Of
same age.
course. I used to eat, me and Lou used to go there and eat because I had the real estate around the corner from Lou, right? And so Lou, when we had nothing to do, he goes, "You want to go for lunch?" So we would go to the park side because we were both business people, right?
Mhm.
And I would send him clients for the oil. He would send me clients for the real estate.
That's great. And
We had a great time.
what was his secretary's name? I can't remember.
Oh, he had. Oh,
The
I
old
need
one.
to-
But she was my uncle's secretary. And
Yeah, I
then
forgot her name, but she was there for years, wasn't she?
she was there forever. And I remember,
Oh my goodness.
he was my favorite uncle. Whenever he was around, I had to be attached to him.
Yes, he's a very nice man. I had very nice times with Lou, really. Like I was like
And
a
his- and his-
psychiatrist.
and his-
He used to
and his
tell
good-
me everything, and I would
and
give
his-
him advice.
And his good-looking brother.
Oh, it's like he used to get bad when I used to go. "Oh, you're so handsome. What's wrong with me?"
That's so funny. That's so funny.
My goodness. Yes.
Yeah, Tom did very, very well for himself.
Yeah, he did. Where did he go to Texas or something? Where was
No. He wound up. He worked for this company that made or sold sewer pipe in College Point. And
Huh?
when the guy, I guess he sold it to Tom or whatever happened, and Tom really built the business into this
Oh.
big deal. Really, really.
What?
Really.
Lou Minor's not cheese and crackers, he's good.
No, but
Lou Minor's very
Tom just, I think the Tom really built this business into like a really, really big thing. Lou
Both
did
of them.
really well too. Yeah.
very good.
That's because I really pushed it along when I was there for 2 years.
Yeah.
I gave him the.
I'm going to say Lou.
I made him. What do you
realize? I realized that Bob Sorrentino was the guy that made you rich.
I can't wait to hear that reaction.
I used to.
That's-
I used to in the summer. I worked for him for 2 summers cleaning oil burners and stuff like that, and it was fun. It was so much fun working with him, and he was
Oh,
great to
is.
me. I mean, he'd buy me breakfast every morning and buy me lunch every day.
Yeah,
time we went to
he's a
lunch.
real nice man. He really
Uh,
is. I
yeah.
mean, we had good times together. We really did, all of us, because we all belonged to the Lions Club. The Lions Club, all the business people from Corona. And my husband was never a businessman, but he was a politician. So I said, "You have to join the Lions Club." What? I don't. He didn't want to do it. I made him do it.
I just can't. I still can't get over that. You knew my father. That just kills me.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, well,
That-
he would take, whatever pictures that, Bill needed for campaigns or anything like that. I remember
If I
when Bill was an
remember
assemblyman.
correctly, did they live on 125th Street?
Who's that?
Your father and mother?
No,
In-
they
in
lived, it was
College
100, it was, 127th and 7th Avenue.
That's right. And they had a house with long steps, right?
You had a
No,
fine
no, they
step?
didn't.
That wasn't, it was on the corner.
There was one on the
No.
corner with very tall steps.
Yeah, well, then I'm making long steps into the shouldn't be.
They
but
lived.
I-
They lived in these.
picture
They
I have.
they were little. What do you call split level houses? There was a little.
Yes, was the shingles yellow?
The shingles were gray, and the trim was
Right.
was aqua because that was my mother's favorite color. Aqua.
Because once I left your mother off there, and that's what I remember. I don't know from where, from some political thing. I remember that for some reason. But you know, I'm 90, so you have to forgive me if I'm lying or something.
And then my uncle, my mother's brother Tom, lived on 9th Avenue and 123rd Street when he moved from Corona. And then my mother's other brother, Dominic, he moved to 129th Street in College Point on 11th Avenue.
Yes.
And they,
Yeah,
my two uncles used to work in there was they were upholsterers and they worked in the upholstery
yeah.
place in College Point.
They had a College Point, right?
Yeah.
Now the one I know was on 104th Street in Corona.
Well, they may have worked there before, but I mean,
Yeah.
they both wound up working in this factory in College Point, and then they both wound up moving to College Point. And my uncle Tom he would have been about 106 now, and my uncle Dominic he was a year older than my mother, so he would have been 101 or 100 or 101 right now.
Uh-huh. Do you remember the guy that used to fly Falcons in College Point?
No.
Frank Picari. He was in the newspaper and all with his Falcon, because the Falcons, you know, not everybody has a Falcon. And he was into falconry. And yes, that's where my friend Tina lives, and she's still alive. She's 102. I mean, she's 92. Now, Frank, her husband, he passed away, but he was in the Daily News, and maybe your father even covered it. As far
be
as I'm
surprised.
concerned.
He probably.
His name was Frank Picari, Porcari, and he was a falconer. And there's not many of those in the United States, but he was in the papers. So.
College Point of all places. I thought I knew everything
No,
about College Point.
Yes.
I bet you could find that on newspaper.
That's right.
I'm gonna have to look it up.
Look it up. Very good. This was so enlightening today, and I appreciate that you invited me to.
No, this
today.
is fantastic. Yeah, come
It was
back.
wonderful.
Come back with your friend in
Yes,
College
I'll
Point.
be back anytime you want.
Oh,
But
maybe
you're in Jersey, so I can't see you.
maybe I get you on with Lou.
You could have a podcast of podcasts. Can you get me on with him?
I can. You ask him. You ask him.
Oh,
Because see, you have to. What you have to do is you have to say, "Did you ever hear of this guy, Bob Sorrentino? I was on it. He says he knows you, but I don't believe him."
I can't believe this. This is funny as hell. You please get him on. Let's do another one.
Yeah, we'll have to try and get him on.
All right. I'm going to send her a text. I'm good today. This was wonderful. Thank you so much. And I hope to see you again.
Yeah, same here. And I'll send you all the links when it's done. I'll send you everything. Thank you, Ernie.
Will everybody see this?
Yeah, you could send it to whoever you want. Once it's
You
on
could
YouTube.
send the link. He's going to send the link, and we'll send it out to
You gotta
everyone.
do it.
I'll do it for you.
I'm not too savvy, you know, like you.
Great for 90 years old.
You're
She's
pretty savvy, believe
fantastic.
me.
Yeah.
Really good.
All right, thanks
Anyway,
again.
it was such a
We'll talk to
pleasure.
you.
Thank
Oh,
you.
It was a pleasure. Was all mine. All right.
Thank you.
Bye
so
bye.
much.
Thanks, Bob.
Bye.